The resignation of Woody Spong this week leaves us with a vacancy on our county commission. This vacancy, like the last, will be filled by the local Republican Central Committee. Hindsight being what it is, some say the committee didn't do such a good job in the last go-round. Emily, what should the committee do this time?
I think they should probably interview everyone. But from what I was reading this last time, they didn't interview anyone. They just said, "Here, go ahead."
No. I don't think that's true. I think
they did do interviews, but they didn't interview. The problem was that there was an interview process early on, and I believe that was for a central committee seat.
Right.
And then they didn't interview everybody, even though somebody may have put their name back in for Wyvil's replacement. And they said, well, it's we'd already talked to him once before.
Yeah.
So
Shouldn't you be looking at everyone though?
I think here's the deal. I'll be honest. I think the Washington County Republican Central Committee screwed up the first time with their process. The governor likes to have a couple names submitted. We only submitted one. That was the first strike against us.
Yes.
But, I truly believe that the next highest Republican vote getter who actually ran for that office should have been the one they appointed.
And that would be somebody like a Bill McKinley.
That would be Bill McKinley.
Who also applied for the job and was turned down, regardless of the fact that he had spent however many years as a commissioner.
You know what, I think we have a case of here, something that I believe very strongly in my professional life. You don't ever want to hire friends because you're going to regret it. And I think that you're absolutely right, Emily. Somebody should have done their due diligence in terms of, and there should be a certain amount of character examination for somebody, especially if you're nominating somebody. So this is not somebody you can blame the voters for. This is somebody that the buck stops with you for putting in office.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that certainly has turned around to bite them in their fourth point of contact on this particular one.
Yeah, it most definitely. And when we talk about a process, which is why I'm really happy that in this next election for the city of Hagerstown for mayor and council, it's a nonpartisan election, so that if for some reason somebody who was a council member who wanted to run for county commissioner and actually won, like Kristen Elshire did back in 2006, the appointment doesn't have to be party specific. Right. And I truly believe that, we actually made this change during my last administration after the election, and made sure that it was viable this time, because we all believe that nonpartisan elections are the way to go at this level of government, local level. When you get to the state, it's a little different. When you get to Congress and the Senate and the president, sure. I mean that's all party politics. But county level, city level, there's no room for party politics there.
Well, and to be honest, one would like to think that eventually we could get to a point on a national level where the parties have less pull versus
don't plan on that.
Versus actually having candidates that have to have opinions and stick to them.
Right.
Not having a party political machine behind them pushing them forward. And I think, and I'm sure that we agree on this. Oftentimes, that's the reason we end up with some of the dopes we end up with in national
let me
politics.
say this. Let me say this for the record, and I've been a very vocal Woody Spong opponent since
Day one.
since he didn't return my phone call. But having said that, I don't think Woody is an unintelligent guy. I think Woody is probably a well-meaning guy. I think he made some dumb mistakes. And God knows I've made enough of those in my lifetime, so I understand
there's no one perfect that I know. So.
I understand where that's coming from. But if you look at some of the other people that were up for the position back when Woody tried it, there was some guy named Brucci. Do we know him?
I saw that.
I heard that he went in and interviewed and actually said, you really should appoint Bill McKinley.
And there was a guy named McKinley, and there was a guy named Court Meinelschmidt who had run for county commission previously.
Actually, he had run for the House of Delegates.
That's true.
Yes.
I stand corrected. Jane Anderson, local businesswoman, and several others. There were Ed Forrest. So there were a lot of candidates to choose from. And
Pete Waters, who
ran
for
what I
sure.
heard What I heard that it came down to, and this is rumor, this is not fact. What I heard it came down to is two important questions. Number one, are you against home rule? And number two, are you for the Tea Party?
Well, see, and I failed both of those questions miserably. Everybody knows that I was a proponent of home rule in Washington County, only because I cut my teeth on home rule in the city of Hagerstown, and I believe that the government closest to the people should be the ones who govern the people. So yeah, I'm a true believer in home rule. I just think that it's ridiculous that Washington County would have to go to the state and say, hey, we want to institute a weed ordinance.
Right.
I mean, those are the kind of things, and you can still have home rule and have checks and balances when it comes to things like taxes and things like that. But the minutia of government isn't about raising taxes, and it's about local ordinances and local resolutions, and so. I mean, why would you have to go the whole way to Annapolis to get an okay on something like the weed ordinance?
Well, and I got to tell you something, and I don't agree with Leroy Myers on everything. I don't agree with any of them on everything on anything. But Leroy Myers made the point to me several times that it wasn't charter home rule that was bad for Washington County. It was a particular charter that was written, and I agree with that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I believe that this county at some point in time will go to a charter form of government. Now, whenever that charter is put together by the right people and it says the right things, I believe it would happen.
Yes.
Sometimes, and independence wasn't won overnight ever.
No, it wasn't.
So,
Of course not. And I think you're going to get the last word on that.
oh, wow.
As usual.
First time tonight.
Surprise.
First time tonight. First
Shocking.
time tonight.
So next up, lobbying for results. How many lobbyists do we need in Annapolis?